Hey, there you are.
Up?
What's going on, Matt? It's a Matt Fest. It says Paul up there. That's the guy that runs the radio station. So it's the account's under his name.
Right on, man.
But I'm Matt Murray, and you're Matt. It says there Brandyberry.
Close, Brandyberry, but we just go with B. It makes it easier for everybody.
Matt, do people call you like Matty B? They always throw like a Y at the end of your name.
Some people did back in the day, but our drummer goes by Matty, so because he's Matt as well, so it makes it easier for people to determine who they're talking to, Matt or Matty. I'm the older one, so I have more wisdom. I'm more distinguished, so I get Matt and Matthew.
Yeah, when I'm growing up, did you get Matthew when you were in trouble? I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I should have gotten in trouble a lot. I didn't though because my parents were so cool.
Okay. But I would get that, like if I was upstairs in my room and like, did something like, I don't know, push my brother down the stairs or something. And I would hear Matthew. I'm like, oh man.
I think that would get me a Matthew. If I pushed my sister down the steps, I think I'd get a Matthew on that one.
Well, he was blocking the stairway. It was time for dinner and, I was hungry.
Got to eat, my man. Got to eat.
That's right. So we were talking to you from Ashes to New, and I just saw it on your Instagram that you have 10 million streams on Panic, or is that something like that?
Yeah, man. It's doing well, man. Consistently stands at the top of our Spotify page and everywhere else, and the fans just love the song. So we're just grateful that they love it as much as we do.
Now, how tough is it? Because you guys released in August, right? Is that when you put it out?
The album dropped in August. The song Panic itself came out in April.
So this whole thing has been like full on Rona trying to get this done.
Dude, it's been nuts, man. I mean, I'm sure that anybody that is in the entertainment industry knows exactly what we're talking about. And even people outside of it that are just trying to make it work, you know what I mean? And that's how it was for us. It's just, it's hitting a moving target, man. Gotta be good at it.
Because I know some other bands, they had August release dates, and they said they just pushed it back, and now they're finally putting stuff out. What was let's go through some of the challenges that you had, releasing an album like in August. It kind of seemed like maybe things were getting better, but then went down the crapper once again. But talk about some of the challenges you were going through trying to release a record. When normally it's like you release, you promote, you do things like this, and then boom, you go on tour. And that's completely off the picture.
Right. And that is how you do it. Normally when you set up an album, you set it up, you go on tour, you support that album on tour, regardless if it's your tour or you're supporting somebody bigger than you. That's really what it's all about. We didn't have that opportunity. And when we were setting this record up, we were trying to figure out when that was going to happen. And we were still trying to do it the old fashioned way, release a record on the heels of a tour. And so because the touring and that part of the industry kept moving around, it kept moving around the release of our album. So we convinced the label to let us put out the single Panic in April. We knew the fans wanted new music. And in the digital world, it's a lot different now. Stuff's really easy to consume. So it was good for us to be able to do that and kind of hit that. And then as that started to take off, we really started to focus in on what the next release was going to be and when the album was going to come out. So it really came together really quickly because, like you were saying, like there was just no vision as to when touring was going to happen. So we had to figure out exactly what we were going to do in that scenario.
Yeah, and the thing is too, it's like, I mean, it's good that you were able to put out new music because, it's like just me being a fan of his music in general, working on the radio. It's like, God, can I play something new?
Right, man. And that's the crazy thing, right? Because like we were lucky enough to go into the pandemic era, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. We were lucky enough to go into that time frame with finished music. And a lot of the bands that didn't have that, maybe they had something planned for the spring of 2020. Depending on where you were going, if it was Los Angeles is where a lot of people go to record their albums. If you were going to Los Angeles during that time, there's a chance that probably got postponed or canceled as well, along with your tours. So we were just really fortunate to be able to get our record finished before all of this happened.
So you got this done in basically the traditional way. You guys did studio time, and I know even even before COVID, like people were still like maybe some guitar players over here, and he might record something and send it, but still you got it done in a traditional sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was different for us because this album process was different than the norm of what we're used to doing. But I mean, yeah, in the traditional sense of doing a record, we didn't have any pandemic problems.
Now, what have you been doing with extra time? Because I don't think I mean, it's hard to really pinpoint another industry that's been so hard hit as the music industry. I mean, you got the musicians who aren't on tour, you got the road crews who aren't doing what they normally do, you got the venues who have people that work for them full time who are not booking. And I mean, like the domino effect of the whole music industry is crazy. And with all this like just empty space, what have you in particular have been doing with this time?
Yeah, dude. I mean, just to touch on that a little bit, it sucks for everybody, really. I mean, I feel for the people who own small venues and the guys who, bust their ass out on tour every day and that's their life, man. It just sucks to watch them go through so much of a hard time in such a short period of time. Really, in the course of a year, I've watched some people lose everything. So, it really sucks. But for us to try and stay focused and stay driven and not become jaded, I think that's probably one of the biggest things in any area of the entertainment industry is don't become jaded, whatever the situation is. We did some covers, initially when we did covers, we were just like, hey, let's do a cover or two, and then we'll be back out on the road. No big deal. This will just hold us over. And then we was just like, cover 2-3 weeks. Another cover. And then we just ended up doing that it seemed like almost a year. So we did that, and we're all together right now writing. Actually, the guys are somewhere else in the house right now. So we're all together for the last week or so writing. We shot a music video that we weren't part of, but we all got together to hang out. So that was a little, it was a little different for us because we're in every music. There's Danny right now. It was a little different for us because we're in, usually every music video, but we did a music video that we weren't a part of, but we got together to chill. So that was cool. Just trying to stay musicians, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to pick up a hammer and swing it anytime soon, So I'm just, we're just working on our craft and trying to get better at what we do.
With the covers that you did, was there anyone that was particular, like really challenging? Like you're like, wow, this song is actually like really hard to do.
Would I be an asshole if I said no?
No. Maybe you just pick things that you like listen to like a bunch of times and you just kind of knew it anyway.
Well, for me in particular, I play guitar as well, and in a few of the covers I play guitar. And the Bullet for My Valentine. Now I'm not shredding. That's Lance. He can do all that all day long. But just the breakdown, the bridge and the breakdown section. That was for not playing guitar as much as I used to for like 4 or 5 years, and then picking it up just to start playing these covers because I had no other parts in these songs. I was like, oh man, like this is like getting back on a bike, but trying to not wreck going over a ramp. You know what I mean? So it was like, I think that the Bullet for My Valentine cover was probably the most challenging for me because I had to play guitar all over again. It was like learning to play intricate stuff all over again.
Now, I don't have a list of the covers you did, but was there anything on there that might be odd for your fans to think like, wow, I would never see From Ashes to New playing like this song, like you weren't doing like any, Rupert Holmes Pina Colada song or anything like that.
No, we weren't doing any Jimmy Buffett or anything like that. But we did Bullet for My Valentine. People know us as a rap rock band, rap metal, rap rock, or whatever. So we did Bullet for My Valentine, not too far out of the genre, but I mean that's something that's not really, obviously we did Evanescence and Linkin Park and stuff like that really is part of the side of the industry that we're in. But Bullet for My Valentine, Avenged Sevenfold, all these guys are huge Avenged Sevenfold fans. So we did Nightmare by them. And then I think Panic at the Disco, we did we did High Hopes, and we just turned it into a metal song and I added a rap verse. So that was like kind of our thing. And then we had a couple other ones that we started working on that we never released that were a little bit further into left field. Maybe we will, depending on how long, we're doing this for. But there's a couple on the back burner right now that I don't want to give it away in the event that we decide to finish them up and release them.
And the thing is, too, now that things are kind of loosening up a little bit, I have seen some bands, try to dip their toe in the water and, well, let's book some shows for, say, July or June and hope for the best. Have you guys gotten to that point yet? Are you kind of looking into that?
I mean, I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic, but I mean, who knows? And we're talking about it for sure. We're talking about, I think we're working on a tour for that time period, late summer, early fall. I think we're working on something like that. I'm not sure that we would announce it anytime soon. I think it's obviously still in the works, and the venues are the big wild card in this because, you know, they're also being cautiously optimistic, and sometimes to the point where they're just being cautious, you know. So, and I'm not sure that they're even being optimistic. So I don't know. I spent most of 2020 getting my hopes up.
Yeah.
And it sucked because it was like when we first stopped touring in March, it was like, oh, summer, everything's gonna be fine. We'll be back to normal. And then summer rolled along, and it was like fall, definitely fall. And then it was like, oh, well, you know, maybe early winter. And then now here we are into late winter. And it's like now they're like, oh, summer. And I want it to be summer. I really do, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up for that because I'm like the kid that, you know, Santa never came every time it rolls around.
Well, the other thing I was thinking too, it actually just hit me as you were talking about like another problem. I mean, it'd be a good problem to have, but what if all the bands are trying to book the same venues all at the same time because you got last year's tours that got canceled and they're trying to rebook those things with like, then, you know, I had a bunch of bands that just put new music out for this year and they're like, that could be a thing really.
It is a huge problem, actually. It is a thing, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of venues that have closed. You know, it's like every time I open up some, you know, type of entertainment, you know, news, it's another venue closes. And a couple of my favorite venues have actually closed. And the one in my home area where we cut our teeth closed. So that was pretty sad. So you do have that. You have every band's going to try and tour at the same time. And a bunch of venues that are either small to medium to even larger venues are gone. So, you know, it really is going to be a frenzy. And I think one of the big things is have, you know, what we do in the industry is we have holds, right? So like when you book a tour, like you were saying, bands rescheduling and doing those things, they have holds on those venues. So they really have, you know, first dibs, first come, first serve type scenario. So the more and more it gets pushed back, you know, the more and more that it becomes a cluster. I don't even know. Can I say?
Well, yeah, this is Zoom. This is the internet, man. You do whatever. You can show
more and more it becomes a clusterfuck. You know what I mean? So, and that's really where we're at right now. Is just everything is just every day that passes, the more and more becomes a gigantic clusterfuck.
Well, I mean, another thing too, like, I mean, maybe they could work out good. Like maybe a band that was going out had a different opener that, that didn't work out. And then like, well, who's available? And then pow, there you go. So it's like, I guess you just got to have all options open and just, lack of a better term, spray and pray. Hope you land on one of them, you know?
Yeah, man. You know, and it's wild for, honestly, I feel bad for some of the smaller bands, especially in our side of the industry, because we all know like where rock and metal is. I mean, I don't think we're fooling anybody. So, you know, the smaller bands in the rock and metal industry, I feel really bad for them because there's going to be bands that are a little bit bigger that are going to take smaller slots just to get out on the road.
Yeah.
You know, when everything opens up. So a lot of those, you know, small fish at the bottom is going to be hard for them to eat, you know? So, I feel terrible for them. And I just hope that everyone gets back out soon and everyone can return to some type of normalcy is what they were used to. I'm tired of seeing all these people in the industry that I love and care so deeply about losing everything. Like I said, I've seen some personal friends that I've worked with literally lose their houses, lose their cars. Like it sucks, man. I mean, they still have their lives, so that counts, you know, but to lose all their possessions and shit, man, it's just wild.
Well, one last thing. I see you got the Eagles hat on. Carson's gone. Sean Jackson's gone. Is that your picture there? The Super Bowl picture?
On this side over here.
Okay.
Oh,
there it is. Yeah.
I got my jerseys over there and
nice. And dogs jumping around.
Yeah, my dogs are going nuts on the couch right now. And then that's a panoramic of the Super Bowl 52. So can't really see it, but confetti everywhere. So anyway, what was the question? The Carson Wentz thing?
Yeah, pretty sad. I got but I watch a lot of college football. Okay, I went to University of Georgia. So Jalen Hurts killed me a bunch of times, murdered me, basically, broke all my hopes and dreams. Right. So that being said, you know, I think he's, you know, Jalen Hurts is the real deal. I think a lot of, I think you guys are kind of under, you know, you guys are just Eagles fans in general, kind of really underestimating what you got with him.
I think the big thing is that for me, looking, you know, outside looking in as a diehard Eagles fan, and, you know, I'm probably more of a football fan than I am a music fan, believe it or not. So I think that our organization just doesn't know what they're doing. And I'm not saying like, oh, they don't know how to run football operations or they don't know how to control the cap space. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I just think that they literally don't have a plan. And I think that that's the biggest problem. You know, they purged like this before. They purged the organization back when Chip Kelly was the coach. They purged all of our star players. That's when Deshaun Jackson left, LaShawn McCoy left. McNabb had finally hung up his jersey, and he got rid of Nick Foles. Like, one season after Nick Foles, you know, is now in the Hall of Fame for throwing the most touchdown passes in the game. Like, so, and Howie Roseman's always been. It seems like he's always been the wild card. Our GM has always been the wild card in all of this, and he's a great cap guy, and the owner, Jeffrey Lurie, loves him. We all know that Lurie loves Roseman, but it seems like every time we go through a shakeup like this, all the players are pointing at him. And I'm a diehard Carson Wentz fan. I think that he never got – I just feel like he never got a fair chance. I feel like 2017 was the first time that he got a fair chance. His second season, he had an offensive line. He had weapons around him. And we all see what happened. If he didn't get hurt in that Rams game, he was the MVP of the league.
Yeah.
It's down. So he got a fair chance that year. And then every year since, he didn't have an offensive line. He had nobody to throw the ball to, and even went to the playoffs 2 years in a row with, Greg Ward. You don't even know who he is. That was his top receiver. So I think Hurts is good. I don't think that we've seen enough of him as a pro. I think we had 4 games, and I think that's what Peterson and Roseman and all of them were trying to do, is to say, what do we have in this guy? I feel like they feel like they've seen enough, but now they're talking like they may end up trading up from 6 to 2 in the draft to pick up a quarterback. So I have no idea. I have no idea that the organization has an idea. So it's crazy, man.
It's like dating, and you got commitment issues, and you're just like, yeah, you want to date this one, but you know, there's a bigger, better deal out there.
Right. There may be some hotter girl out there.
That's right. Let me scroll through Instagram and see if I can find her.
Yeah, man. That's what they're doing to try to find their quarterback right now.
Well, Matt, thank you for some time today for our WMGM face-to-face. And, I guess we'll wait and see what happens with going out on the road. And hopefully, you guys are PA. One day you can swing by the Jersey Shore and stop by the studio, and we can have live sessions again and stuff like that. And best of luck moving forward, man. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourself and stay safe, and we'll definitely be there when we can.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, man.
All right, later.